This practice is an advanced backbend practice. We move toward Mermaid pose or Eka Pada Rajakapotasana. And these are the steps to get there. If you can't do all of them, there are several steps to get to the full pose, and having the knowledge of those steps will get you there. Yoga is my ability to be conscious, to be able to reflect. Let's draw in. By physically drawing in, we have that awareness of the self. We know the self. We have the ability to reflect on the self. We have an enjoyment of ourselves as consciousness. Close your eyes. Invite the breath in and out. By drawing in to your awareness, you're able to reflect on yourself. See how you can draw in from the farthest points of your body toward your heart center. And with your breath, expand that heart center so fully. Come to all fours position. And from here, once again, draw in. As you spread your fingers in the all fours position, draw in from your handprint all the way to the pelvis, and from the toes, draw in all the way. With the toes tucked under, now place the hands one handprint higher and come to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, bring your awareness again to your foundation, just as you did in hands and knees. The fingers are spread, the fingertips are clawing the earth. You draw in, again, from the fingertips all the way to the heart, and from the toes, draw in all the way to the heart in this inversion that downward facing dog is. Allow the head and neck to be free. Come back to your awareness of the breath. Be more conscious and reflect on the sensation of the breath and the sensation of the pose with the hands and the legs so active. On your next inhale breath, lift your right leg up and then inner spiral the upper inner thigh so that you can get the pelvis square. You can draw in from the heel toward the heart, expand the toes again, and then release the right foot down. Do the same with the left. Take the left leg up and then inner spiral the upper inner left thigh so that the hip points are parallel to the earth, and then draw in from the heel toward the heart, and then expand out from the heart to the big toe, and release down. From downward facing dog, step your right foot forward and place your back knee to the floor. Take the left toenails to the floor and press the toenails firmly down so as to lessen the weight on the left knee. First, take the hands to the top of the thigh. Lengthen the side body, take the heads of the arm bones back, and as you draw in from the power of those back toes toward the pelvis, from the pelvis to the crown of the head and up through the fingertips as you lift your arms high to the sky, create this fullness of the front body, this great awareness of the self, of the form of the pose. Take 2 more breaths. And then release your hands to the earth. Step back to downward facing dog. Enjoy your breath here. Keep that awareness, that attunement to the alignment and the actions. With grace, step your left foot right between the hands and have the back knee, the right knee come to the floor, the right toenails to the floor. Take the hands to the top of the thigh. And again, reach into the power from the back leg to allow the front thigh to soften more. Draw from the pelvis to the earth and from the pelvis to the crown of the head and all the way through the fingertips as you lift your arms up, spread your fingers, and this time reach the gaze of your heart toward the sky as you expand the hands even wider apart. Step back into downward facing dog. Come quickly to plank position. In plank position, draw in from your fingertip tops all the way to the heart and draw in from the toes toward the heart. Get the back body so full. Keeping that power, that sense of drawing in, very slowly lower yourself to the earth. And on the earth with the hands placed alongside the ribs, inhale, draw your heart forward, take the heads of the arm bones back. Keeping that sense of drawing in, come back through hands and knees to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, let's be playful and free by lifting your right leg up. And this time, rather than being concerned about squaring the hips, lift the right hip very high to the sky. Lift the right foot to the sky. And if you'd like, you can bend your right knee. Keep the head of the arm bones lifted though. The left armpit will tend to just fall toward the earth. So keep that lifted. And with that awareness and lift of the left armpit, maybe you can even lift your head slightly. Look over your left armpit toward your right foot. Release your right foot to the earth. Now let's try that with the left. Extend your left leg back and high to the sky, almost stacking the hips as you reach the left foot toward the sky. Then feel free to bend your knee with the toes active. Even here, you're still drawing in toward the heart. With that full expansiveness, the lift of the right arm, look over the right shoulder to find your lifted toes. Slowly release back to downward facing dog. With the legs strong, the arms strong, slowly move yourself to plank. Invite the breath in and out so fully in plank. Slowly lower yourself down toward the earth. You may want to hold Chaturanga Dandasana for 1 or 2 breaths. Come to the earth. Now on your belly, take your arms in a Sphinx position with the forearms pressing down, with the left forearm parallel to the short edge of the mat. Bend your right knee. Draw your right hand back to the right foot. Now lift the elbow up. So take the head of the right shoulder back, maintaining a strong foundation with the left arm. Encourage your right shoulder slightly forward as you work a strong and steady action of the foot against the hand. Press the kneecap down. Encourage your breath to be strong. Keep the right knee firmly planted so the top of the right thigh is lifted and there's no contracted action in the low back. And as you're ready, you can release. Place the right forearm down. Again, parallel to the short edge of the mat. Bend the left knee. Hold on to the top of the foot. Lift the left elbow. And if you can, encourage your fingers to be directed in the same direction as the toes. Press the toes against the fingers. Work the kneecap firmly down and take the top of the thigh away from the earth. Continue to draw the left shoulder forward and welcome the breath in and out, even as you get this intense thigh stretch. Slowly release. Come to all fours position, and I find in that pose I often contract my low back, so I just enjoy doing a few cat-cow poses. So on all fours position with your toes tucked under or your toenails flat on the inhale breath, lift your chin. Exhale, draw your gaze inward and lift the back body high. Draw in from your fingers all the way to the back of the spine, to the pelvis. From the toes, draw in toward the pelvis. Get the heart to lift high. Come back to all fours position. We've been working to lead with our hearts with great awareness. So now from this all fours position, bend your elbows and draw your heart first. Let the heart lead the way toward the earth. Keep your sit bones lifted. And as the heart comes close to the earth, draw forward to come to a baby cobra. Press the fingertip tops down. Press the base of the thumb down and isometrically draw back. Hands are reaching back toward your toes, and the heart is reaching its gaze forward with great awareness. You reach the heart forward, take the heads of the arm bones back, come back through downward facing dog. And enjoy your breath here in downward facing dog. Keep that steady foundation through the hands and the feet. And now step your right foot right between the hands. Draw the back knee down with the left shin bone pressing into the earth. Take the hands to the top of the thigh. Now draw in. Imagine that the back shin and the front heel can just draw to some imaginary point, and from the strength of the back leg, draw the right thigh down. On your next inhale breath, with the side body long, the heads of the arm bones back, reach your arms up to the sky. And open the hands slightly wider apart so that the gaze of your heart creates this fullness in the front body. Maintaining the back leg strength, reach your hands back even further. Release your hands down. Come back to all fours position. Now step your left foot right between the hands. Secure the strength from the back leg. And just as you did on the right side, draw in toward a midline that you set for yourself. Take the hands to the top of the thigh. Once again, soften. You maintain the strength of the back leg even as you allow this softening for the front leg. Lengthen the side body with the heads of the arm bones. Draw back. Draw down from the pelvis to the earth and from the pelvis to the crown of the head, and even through the fingertips. Reach your arms up. And again, expand the hands even wider apart to invite the fullness of the front body. Just bask in the fullness of your breath. Release your hands down. Step back to hands and knees. Lower yourself all the way down to the earth again. Once the belly is firmly on the earth, take the hands slightly wider apart than the shoulder blades and lift the elbows up. So now the forearms are right over the wrists. On the next in-breath, use the strength of your back muscles to rise up. And once you're lifted, keep the strength of the back body, but let the arms just move you side to side so that you can just kind of dance in this Cobra pose. Just a way to warm up the shoulders, yet keeping the strength of the back. Slowly release yourself down again. Place your hands alongside the ribs, this time with your hands firmly planted on the floor. So the palm is on the floor, the base of the thumb is on the floor. Lift the head of the arm bones away from the floor. Keep that softness and that forward direction of the heart. And with the strength of the back muscles, inhale, lift yourself up to a baby cobra this time. Exhale, soften. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, draw the heart forward as the heads and the arm bones draw back. Soften down. And 1 more time. Draw the breath in with the strength of the back body. You reach the gaze of your heart forward. Exhale, release down. Just stack the hands and press the forehead into the stacked hands and enjoy your breath. Take 2 more breaths, drawing the breath in and out. 1 more time, creating so much space as you draw your breath in and out. Now take the arms alongside the body, parallel to the long edge of the mat, with the palms facing the hips. On the inhale, again, use your back muscles to lift yourself up. If you'd like to lift your feet up as well, enjoy the strength of the back. Continue to draw in from the fingertips, draw in from the toes to keep the strength of the limbs as you draw the heart forward. And again, release down, stack the hands, press the forehead into the stacked hands, and enjoy 3 full breaths. Continue the fullness of your breath. Bring the strength of the breath to the back body. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Press your toenails down and your shin bones down. Lift the head of the arm bones. And again, drawing in from your toes toward your pelvis. Drawing in from the interlaced fingers. Lift the heart and come to yet another version here of Salambhasana. Pressing your legs firmly down, allow the breath to just kind of move you into a deeper expression of the pose. Release, and again, press the forehead to the stacked hands and enjoy your breath. Continue with the breath work. And keeping the breath strong, roll over to your back. Lie on your back. Bend your knees and place your feet hip distance apart. As you press into the earth with the pelvis down on the mat, draw the heels slightly in toward the buttocks, and you'll notice that you get just a little bit more curve. This drawing in action that we've been doing all practice gives so much strength to the pose. So keep that drawing in from the heels toward the pelvis. Lift the pelvis up off the floor. Interlace the fingers behind you. And with the fingers interlaced, then the baby fingers pressing to the earth, lift your heart high. Keep the neck very strong by pressing the head back, and maintain a nice foundation by drawing the heads of the arm bones back. As you continue to bring power into the pose, draw in from the heels toward the heart. Allow the breath to become so expansive. Release your hands and let the pelvis rest on the floor. So once the pelvis is on the floor, just do a little pelvic movement, just like the cat and cow pose, but upside down. Keep the legs active, but move with the breath. We'll do one more. Pressing the feet firmly down, draw in from the feet toward the pelvis. The thighs become very active. Keeping that strength in the legs, lift the pelvis up off the earth, interlace the fingers behind the back, and you can just kind of rock one side to the other to allow the shoulder blades to get even closer together. Lift your heart high. Keep the neck very strong. Maintain the heels hugging in. 2 more breaths in the pose. 1 more breath. And now slowly release out of the pose. We'll set up for a passive back bend now. So grab a blanket or a block. If you're using a blanket, roll it very tight and lie on it with the base of the shoulder blades, meaning the bottom part of the shoulder blades, right at the crown or the very top of the blanket roll. Or if you're using a block or 2 blocks, that same part of the shoulder blades draws in toward the heart, and the lift of the block is right underneath the shoulder blades. It's probably best to put something under your head as well if you're using a block. So just lie there with the legs still active, this drawing in action that we've been doing for the practice. Draw in from the toes toward the pelvis. Allow the arms to be at the side, but the heart lifts in the pose. Bring your awareness to the breath. And notice how, as you bring your awareness to the breath, bring more fullness to your pose. This passive back bend pose, such a fabulous pose. I really enjoy adding it to many of my practices. Roll off the blanket or the block. Put the props to the side and just lie on your back. Feel the difference now that you've done a few back bending types of poses. You've done a passive and more restorative back bend pose. Let's prepare for just a little deeper expression of a back bend by bending the knees and once again establishing a very rooted foundation. Lengthen your side body, take the heads of the arm bones back, take the hands over your head, press the hands down, lift your pelvis up, come to your head, and then lift all the way up, full back bend. Let the breath be very full and bright. Continue the action of drawing in, have the limbs be so strong. At the same time, draw the heel in toward the heart. So the backs of the legs, the hamstrings are very active. Slowly bend the knees. Come back down, just lie on your back. Invite the breath in and out. Just close the eyes for a moment. Enjoy the afterglow after a back bend. I always feel so energized. So much goes on in Urdhva Dhanurasana to wake us up. Let's do 2 more. Place the hands again. Lift up to your head. And on a strong inhale, breath, rise up. Let the strength of your legs draw your heart forward even more. Slowly release down. Draw your breath in and out. And one last time. Make sure that the feet are hip distance apart, the feet are parallel. Place the hands again. Lift yourself up to the crown of the head. This time roll slightly forward on the crown of the head toward your forehead so that you can get as much openness in the heart before lifting up. With the power of the legs, draw the heart forward. Slowly bend the knees, bend the arms, and come down. Enjoy your breath. Roll over to your belly and place your hands, come to hands and knees. Back to downward facing dog. And just move very freely. Take the breath to the back body. Allow the breath to just expand the back body so fully as you move. Then come to a place of steadiness. Bend the knees. Take the knees down to the earth. And take the right knee toward the right wrist to come to pigeon pose, Eka Pada Rajakapotasana. We'll stay lifted in this version of the pose. So come to your fingertip top positions by drawing the hands back so they're almost in line with the pelvis, or you can put the hands on blocks here. That will ensure that the side body stays very long for the pose. Take the heads of the arm bones back. And once again, just soften in the pose. with the strength of the back leg. The front thigh draws toward the earth. Bow forward, place the hands. Step back to downward facing dog, just to trade sides, or hands and knees, your choice. Take the left knee forward. Walk your right toes back. Walk your hands back. And you draw in. You keep the limbs very active. So from the back right toes, you draw your power in toward the pelvis and just soften toward the earth again. Keeping the back legs so strong, lengthen through the side body. Have the heads of the arm bones draw back. Take the hands back to the earth. Come back to downward facing dog. Two more breaths in downward facing dog. One more breath before you take your right knee toward the right wrist. Again, come toward a pigeon pose. Stay upright, just as we did in the last pose. Now bend the left knee and take the left foot up toward the side ribs. So as you grab the foot with the hand, take the hand in such a way that the fingers and the toes are directed in the same direction. If that doesn't work for you, simply add the thumb to the inside of the foot and encourage the fingers to draw in the same direction as the toes. Lift the elbow. Keep the head of the arm bones back. You'll notice that this is a balance pose. So the action that we've been doing, this drawing in action, very important to keep the power of the leg, but also to draw toward the midline of the mat just to keep your balance. Release, come back to downward facing dog. Take the left knee toward the wrist. So come to pigeon on the other side. Bend the right knee, hold on to the right foot. As you encourage the foot to come toward the right side ribs, lift the right elbow up. And give yourself a nice thigh stretch. Make sure that the right leg is very active. Still have that strong muscular engagement of the leg and the arm. And encourage the right shoulder to come slightly forward, bringing the left shoulder back. And release, come back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, trade sides again, taking the right knee toward the right wrist to come to pigeon pose. Walk the hands back, walk your left knee back so that you're at the top of the kneecap. You're not actually on the kneecap. So when you bend the knee again and reach back, with the left hand holding onto the foot, just kind of inch the toes toward the eye of the elbow. So if that does not work for you, just keep on holding onto the foot, just like we did in the last pose, to give yourself a nice thigh stretch. If you're able to take the toes to the eye of the elbow, lift your right hand up toward the sky, bend the right elbow, and see if you can grab onto the lifted left fingers. So in the pose, as we did in the last variation, continue to draw the left shoulder forward, the right shoulder back, so that the action is squaring both the pelvis and the shoulders. Slowly release. Come back to downward facing dog. Take the left knee toward the left wrist to come to pigeon again. Walk the right knee back. Bend the right knee. Hold on to the right foot just as we did before. Just notice the difference, one side compared to the other. It's always amazing to me. So just get more length. And as you're ready, you can either continue to hold on to the foot or take the foot to the eye of the elbow. If your right hand is free, you can lift the right hand up so that it will receive the left hand. As you reach the left hand up toward the sky, grab hold of the right fingertips. And again, encourage the right ribs to draw forward. Even though the pose is asymmetric in its form, your action still encourages the right ribs to move forward, the left ribs to move back. As you're ready, you can release and come back to downward facing dog. Come back to downward facing dog, and after all the back bending we've been doing, take your breath again to expand the back body very fully. And then walk your hands back to your feet and bend your knees to come down to a seated pose. Take the feet forward and have the backs of the legs press firmly down as you press the fingertips to the floor. Lengthen the side body. Have the heads of the arm bones draw back. Today we've been drawing in to our power. So in this seated pose, Dandasana, draw in from the toes toward the pelvis. Draw in from the fingertips even as they press down toward the earth. Draw in from the fingertips toward the armpits and then down toward the pelvis. So this full engagement of Dandasana. Just close your eyes. Enjoy your breath. From Dandasana, bend your knees and place the bottom of your feet together as you take the knees wide. Plant the fingertips right by the pelvis. Lift your pelvis up. Just kind of let it swing freely. Take the sit bones slightly closer to the heels. Take the hands right at the shin bones. Draw forward on the sit bones. Lengthen through the side body. Take the head of the arm bones back. Keeping this strength in the legs as the feet press into each other in their prayer pose. You can engage the inner thighs. Keep that engagement with the side body lengthening, the heads of the arm bones back. Bow forward and just soften forward. So for some of us, it's a very subtle forward fold. Catch yourself if the head wants to lead the way. In yoga, we lift the head so that the heart always leads the way. So keep the legs active. Press the feet in toward each other. And on the inhale breath, lift yourself up. Lie back for Savasana. Soften completely. Bend your knees. Plant your feet. On the next inhale breath, reach the arms over the head. And then roll over to the right side, head resting on the right arm. As you're ready, use your hands and your arms to support you as you lift up to come to a seated position. When you're seated well, engage the muscles of the legs to support you fully. Place the hands in front of the heart. May you always thrive from that awareness within. Namaste.